What's up? What's up? Hello orchid fans, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I can't believe it's already end of January 2022. How is 1 month of 22 already gone? I have no idea, but it's time for a monthly update. I thought I'll change things a bit from this year and let me know how you guys feel about it. I was thinking to maybe just talk about 10 plants per month basically in total, so that this video is not too long. So I've got 5 shelves here and I've got other orchids scattered around, so I'll try and kind of stick to maybe to talk about 10 orchids in total. I'll show you the rest anyway because they're all just sitting on the shelf, so let me know if you guys like it or if you prefer the previous format, and I'm happy to kind of change it around. So yeah, let's just jump right in. So here are my cooler growers. Nothing really is happening with these. As you can see, I removed my Cubertsonii from here, so I moved it back into the shelf. But these guys are just, you know, sitting here, not really doing too much. So yeah, nothing really to show on this side. Again, not too much happening with my bigger ones. My fall, I thought it was gonna, you know, have the blooms for longer, but as I filmed my spikes and blooms video, it started wearing off and it already dropped a couple of blooms, and you can see the rest of them are not looking too good. So I think that one is going over, but it's growing another leaf from the middle right there, so it's good. It's putting on some greenery, so that's always good. It looks pretty good. I put my Psychopsis here. I put it in a plastic decorative container just to keep a little bit more humidity. The spikes are still not really doing much. I mean, they seem green, and I don't know, I think maybe these buds are getting slightly bigger, but I think it's gonna take a while. But yeah, I wanted to just give them a bit more humidity because it seemed like, you know, the trays, the brown trays that I had, they kind of evaporate water way too quickly, so this plant would sit quite dry. So we'll see if that is better, especially now when, you know, days are kind of starting to get a bit longer. So we are starting to get into the growing season, so I want this plant to have enough humidity to kind of grow healthily. So yeah, that's my Psychopsis, but the rest of the shelf is, you know, just doing their things, not really much happening on here. And my next shelf down, my maxillariasulfonitis, cute little plant. It doesn't seem to like growing roots very much. They kind of abort all the time. I don't know if it's probably a humidity issue, so I maybe need to think of how to increase humidity around it because it's gonna have a lot of aerial roots. But I noticed recently it started growing new growths. So there is one, I think. Oh yeah, sorry, that is on this side here. They're still quite small, so hard to see, but there is just next to this root, there is one coming out. And then on this one, you can see it's just starting to peek out through here. So yeah, these two new growths are pushing out 2 new growths. So I mean, it's gonna be right out of the pot. Even these 2 growths, we can see they are already out the pot. I planted this original pseudobulb here in the middle because I cut the back of it and I thought if it shoots anything out on the other side it will have enough room, and it did, but it's actually quite close to the original pseudobulb. You can see that the rhizomes are usually pretty long between the pseudobulbs, so this one is pretty close. And you know, if that one shoots out any new growths, then they will have enough room to grow the roots probably in the pot. But yeah, overall, I think this might maybe grow better in a, you know, wider pot, but I'm not sure because it's a big climber as well. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how we grow that one. And then my Tolumnia, I showed it in my last video of for blooms and spikes, because it's got this massive spike here. And I said in that video that it's got a second spike, but it was so tiny it was difficult to show. That was about a week ago, and check this out. It came out through here and it grew so much in a week. So these spikes grow pretty fast, I would say. They do grow quite long. Tolumnia spikes are usually quite tall before they start pushing out any blooms, any branch as well. And this one, you can see, this is the first one. It's not got any signs of buds or branches or anything, so I think it's gonna be a while before we see the blooms, but these spikes are progressing pretty well. Alright, so moving on, I'm trying to kind of skip the orchids that are in spike or bloom because we've seen them just a week ago, so I don't want it to kind of repeat myself, so I'll try and focus on the ones that have new growths. And this bulbophyllum, I was actually kind of watching it, hoping, you know, it will give me some blooms. Having some difficulties trying to maneuver it through this huge root. But yeah, this bulbo started pushing out new growths. So I saw one right here. And let's just rotate it and see if we can find them. So there's another one peeking out through here. And let's see if we can find more. So there's another one right here. They're all just starting, so they are pretty tiny, but I think overall I found maybe 4 or 5 new growths. So this one is waking up, so that's great. We'll see how it does. To be honest, this plant, you can see it's getting quite big, and you know, because of the long rhizomes, you can see some of the rhizomes here, they're so long, so it takes a lot of space. And to be honest, this plant, you know, when it pushes out the blooms, although they are very beautiful, it only stays on for 2-3 days. So I don't know if it's actually worth having such a massive plant, you know, to see the blooms, although it blooms a couple times a year, but only for a little while. And you know, since my space is so limited, I'm kind of starting to debate whether I can actually grow this plant or if I should give the space to other plants. I'm not too sure. I'm not really looking to buy any new plants right now, so you know, we can kind of stay now. But if I do see some orchids that I really want and I'm gonna get them, this might be a candidate to actually leave the collection. Anyways, next one up, this is my Dendrobium speciosum Maizuru, and I haven't really showed you that up close for a while. And I was saying previously that, you know, when the newest growth leaves start greening up, as you can see here, it means that it's got a new growth coming. So I was checking out the pseudobulb here, and although there is an eye kinda right there, it's so difficult to see, but it's a teeny tiny eye, and I thought, oh, maybe that's it. But then I actually noticed that there is a new growth on the previous pseudobulb. So let me see if I can show you. So it's right here. I know it's so tiny, it's difficult to show. But yeah, it's actually started pushing out a new growth on the previous pseudobulb, rather the newest one. So that's interesting, but I still hope that the newest growth will also give me a new growth, so we might actually start having 2 directions of growth. The root system on this one is just ridiculous. It's so big, it's all over the place. So, you know, this is not a branching root system. It does have a couple branches, but very rarely. But it seems to like to grow roots really deep. So I think this plant would actually enjoy being planted in a deep pot, so it can push those roots down all the way. So we'll see. We might maybe repot it, but at the moment it's so happy. I don't really want to ruin it. So you know, I don't really want to start messing with it if it's not necessary. So yeah, we'll see. It's probably gonna stay in there for another season. Okay, let's keep going. So this is my next shelf down. So this is my kind of low light shelf, but it's not as low as I would like it to be. But anyways, you see a gap in here. So this Tolumnia actually lives here, and then in this space I've got my recovering phalaenopsis, which is in a bag, and that bag honestly just takes the whole view, so you can't see any other orchids, so I moved it away. But let's have a look at the other ones. So this is my oncidium sweet sugar. I don't show this plant very much because it's so desiccated, and I was just kind of waiting to see what happens with it, but you can see it looks pretty bad. But it's got this new growth, which although it is pretty small, but you can see it's very plump, it's growing the new leaves, and it's looking quite good. It pushed out 3 roots initially, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one is branching now as well. And then it had some sheaves here, which I peeled off, and I saw there was 4 other roots trying to escape, but it was just, they just couldn't do it. It's just, you know, the plant is just not strong enough. So after I peeled them off, they kind of reactivated. So the 3 tips here, they reactivated. The 4th one is still, you know, still bad, but anyway, it might actually reactivate. So if those 3 roots, or all of them, all 4, push down into the media and start hydrating this plant, I think it's going to be enough of a root system to kind of, you know, pull this back to life. So we'll see what happens with those older pseudobulbs. I don't know if it would replump, or if that's it. If it is, I'm probably gonna cut a couple of them. I also noticed this morning that on the other side, we've got another new growth right here. So I don't know if this plant is actually strong enough to push out 2 new growths, but we'll see what happens with this one. If it does, you know, push out a new growth, this one is closer to the media, so it will probably be easier for it to grow the new roots. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but I'm happy that at least it's trying, you know, to survive, and it's not totally dead yet. And next one up on the shelf I wanted to show you is my Oncidium Twinkle Red Fantasy. So I cut off the spikes now, they're all died, and so I've got 2 plants in here, and I was waiting to see, you know, for new growths, and I noticed maybe today or yesterday that this piece, it's got a new growth right at the base. It's so difficult to see yet, it's so tiny, but it's starting a new growth, so that's good. This one, I can't see any sign of new growths yet, so I'm still waiting, but I'm sure it will come up soon. So yeah, this one is kind of starting its growing season now. And I guess it would be inappropriate not to address the elephant in the room. I mean, literally the elephant. Check out this Oncidium Oncidium chocolate orchid, which is my cherry baby. Check this out. This is just the most kind of massive plant. It's starting its growing season as well. I've got 3 pieces in here, and to be honest, I'm kind of regretting now putting all 3 pieces in the same pot, but you can see a new growth right in front of you. And then if I keep turning it around, there is another new growth just right here, and there is a smaller new growth somewhere, yeah, which is right here behind it. You can see leaves starting to peek through, and then there was a tiny new growth somewhere as well. So it's actually right here at the edge of the pot. You can barely see it, so there is at least 4 new growths. I think there is actually maybe even more. It's just a massive plant, and let me show you if I can actually pull it out with the whole pot. So I watered it, so it's gonna be full of water, but check out the root system on this plant. So if I rotate it, all of these roots are new. I only repotted this plant maybe a couple months ago, and it's just going crazy in this pot. Check this out. This is just unreal. I mean, I knew that cherry babies are usually quite vigorous plants, but oh my god, what is that? So we'll see how it blooms after it, you know, progresses with these new growths. But I have a feeling I'm gonna have to repot this orchid after it finishes blooming, and I'm definitely gonna split those through pieces up and either in 3 different pots or at least 2 pots, but I feel like this is just way too big of a plant to stay in one pot. It's just too vigorous, it's got too many roots. It's gonna fill this pot up with roots in no time. So, and I can already see that new growths are just coming from all directions and they're gonna be right against the edge of the pot. So I hope I can actually get away without repotting it until the season finishes, but we're gonna have to wait and see. And then I guess the last plant I would like to show you is my pythopan blackjack. I recently did a video where I kind of repotted it and I basically introduced akadama here. And I have to say, this new fan, it's looking really nice. I saw a new leaf coming through the middle, so it's still growing. It's got the new growth as well here. I know this purple black color is difficult to kind of see, but I'm sure you can see this massive new growth coming out. It's pushing out new roots really well. I kind of keep stacking akadama, you know, on top, but you can see a root here, and there is a few roots, to be honest, kind of going down into the media. And honestly, even if the root is not fully covered by akadama, they don't seem to mind that much. I mean, this is a terrestrial orchid, so it wants its roots, you know, to be covered, but I think akadama probably provides enough humidity around the root system and around the base of the plant that it's happy enough to just push the roots down, even if it's not fully covered at the very kind of base of the plant. So yeah, I think this one is gonna be okay. The older fan here, the only one left, you can see this leaf is now all browned up, so it's ready to go, but I'll just let it fall off on its own. I don't want to, you know, yank it off. This orchid is, you know, probably not really strong enough for me to do that, but I'll let it fall off. This leaf is still green, so I don't know if it really gives it anything, but anyways, I think it's gonna be fine. I was kind of a bit scared to lose it, but I think we'll be actually all right. And just very quickly, these are my jewel orchids here, so they seem to be doing pretty well as well. I cut off some old leaves, so it might actually look a bit bare compared to what it used to be, but at the same time, it's looking really nice. Now that I move it away from the shelves, look how dark green it is. It used to be really light green, so I think it was getting way too much light. And here it's basically not getting any light at all. It only gets light from the shelf, you know, from the shelf here, and that's it. And it seems to, you know, that seems to be more than enough. Same with this one. I now moved it here, and I turned it in a way that the light is coming from this side here, so that it kind of leans on this side of the pot if it wants to push out any roots from the stem. So, and you can see that the leaves are already starting to lean towards that side, so it looks like my light training is kind of working. So yeah, these guys are doing well. And that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for joining. Let me know if you like this format, you know, looking at a couple orchids rather than so many. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!